Hi Taurus, welcome to the full moon in Aquarius reading for August 19th, 2024. This is a bit of a tense full moon. Um, the tension is not only with the moon, but a lot of astrological aspects that are going on. You could have already started to feel it since Saturday. And it goes probably up until around the 21st, as I understand it. Um, I have been listening to quite a few astrological reports, and some of them are very positive. Most of them are honestly telling you that it's a tense period. If you want to know more, look up your favorite astrologer because there's a lot of information there, and it could really help you through a rather tense period. It's good to know that so you know how to work through these kinds of energies. It's a little bit like the irritating sand in the clam that offers a pearl at the end of its cycle, but there's that irritation and tension that comes with it. So there are solutions. I mean, there's a nice solution that comes from it, but we have to get through the laborious, tense period. Um, And I'm not trying to be discouraging. In fact, I think that's how we learn things. So, forewarned is forearmed. Um, the direction that your reading is going in is really quite positive, though. You have the number four spirit, angels of the four direction. Um, Number four is foundational, which is, I think, really good for Taurus because it is manifestation, but it's a well built foundation, and I do think that's a lot what Taurus is all about. Um, so it's the result of like all three of the elements, right? Um, Fire, which is your desire, imagination, and emoting, all into creating a strong foundation. So, the four directions, the four angels would be Uriel, Raphael, Michael, and Gabriel. Um, in this particular card, it is stating that Uriel is the angel of the north, so that's valuable inspiration. So you're working with, especially if you're working with creative projects, but again, four is going to give you that foundational, so you can have some really creative energy. Um, then Raphael is the east, and that's support in matters of love. So this is the direction we're going in here. You get two of those. If it was reversed, you'd have the other two um, supporting energies. But inspiration and love, it's pretty nice. So that's kind of the energy that you're dealing with right now, that you're working with. Um, but there's a lot of practical application with the number four. And like I said, I really think I think you can feel really comfortable, Taurus, in the frequency of four. Um, on the negative side, though, it can be very plodding and exacting work or dull. Um, it can also be limitations or blocks, but let's see where that goes because you have some help from the north and the east directions. The north is usually our ancestors, and the east is the energy of new beginnings. Okay, so the first column is where you find yourself at the time of the full moon, or if you are consciously closing something out. I find the 10 interesting there. Ooh, two tens. Okay, because that is the end of a situation, the beginning of something new simultaneously. So two tens. The second set of cards is you and how you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're behaving in this particular situation. And then the last column is probable outcome. Probable because some things we can change, some things we are meant to experience. always for our growth, for our greater good. Though it may not look like it at the time or feel like it. Okay. 2 tens, 2 fives. 5 is the number of change, and it's the roller coaster ride. But it is also expansion and recreation. And I find that interesting that you have 2 fives and 2 tens, endings and new beginnings. But we're kind of like in that, it's the hump, right? 5 pushes us to find balance. It's instability that pushes us to find balance, and maybe balance towards these endings and new beginnings that are happening simultaneously. Okay. The Ten of Swords is the end of difficult mental situations. The Ten of Wands is taking your responsibility. And again, remember 4 I said can be very plotting. The Ten of Wands is also plotting, really like just taking your responsibility and moving forward with them to the bitter end. And it's almost like you can see the end in sight, but it's kind of like those horror movies where you see the door at the end of the hallway, and as you run towards it, it just gets longer and longer and longer. It can feel like that. It can feel like, will it ever get done? Um, and you are coming to the end of that here. But I see the struggle. I absolutely see the struggle. Um, the swords are your mental activity and actual activity, actions that you take. Now, your perspective is really important here with the Ten of Swords. Is it a new day dawning, or is it the end of a difficult situation or a day? You know, are we exhausted, or are we kind of like, okay? And I do feel like with the Ten of Swords, it is asking that we're looking for a little mental peace. You know, we're done, we're tired. We keep going, but it's arduous, it's plodding, it's heavy, it's difficult, but it is a new day dawning. This card also tells me that if you are carrying the responsibility unnecessarily for other people, that it's important that you give it back. They're not learning their life lesson from it or gaining the knowledge and experience that they should be. And I understand that it is not always possible. So I'm just saying, if it's unnecessary, then it behooves you to give it back. This is my Mercury in retrograde card, the Six of Cups, and we are in retrograde at the moment. And so these are things that come from the past or from, yeah, and come forward again for another peruse to understand them, to not do the same thing wrong that we did before that. It is also a very sharing card. And so maybe there is somebody who wants to help share your responsibility, or you're helping to share somebody else's responsibility. Like I said, it's a very caring card. In relationships and romantic matters, for me, it's not romantic. It's very platonic relationship. But it's sweet and it's kind and it's very friendly. And sometimes that's what we need more than romance, to be honest with you. And maybe in this case, it's a good friend from the past that comes back to help. Or again, like I said, perhaps this is you. You could be dealing with things or carrying the burden from the past, and you're kind of wanting that to be over with now. And quite frankly, because we have 2 tens here, it is coming to a culmination. It is ending. But this is definitely a period where we are in that instability phase is because you have two fives. There could be some fluctuations with the two fives. Like I said, it's instability. And the Five of Swords is something that is very hard won. Um, Mind what you say and how you say it, because this card says that your words have impact. And it is, for me, one of the more difficult cards in the deck. It is humiliation, or it can be. And it can be that you are the victor, right? You win, but somebody else doesn't. And so it's not a complete victory, because I don't know, there's a sort of there can be, I can see a smug kind of a smugness to his expression, but it's the card of you get what you want, but it may not be the way you want it. Somebody else is losing out. It's a very difficult card, and your words have impact here. Now, whether you have, I mean, for me, it really feels like you've been through a lot here, or a friend, right? Um, and we kind of need a rest from that with the Four of Swords. You do have three cards that are air, that are swords, and that's activity, but it's also tension and kind of the feeling that we have to struggle and fight through something. The Four of Swords is the need for physical rest, but the mind usually keeps whirling, it usually keeps going. So, in order for you to find some rest, you may have to get things down on paper, right? Thoughts, even if it's by your bedside and you have a thought and you want to write it down, or you're making plans and you keep going over, okay, I have to do this tomorrow, I have to do that tomorrow, because you have a lot of responsibility, you have a lot of things going on right now. It's good for you to have a pen and paper, so that you know it's there and you don't have to keep going over it in your mind. It does give you some sort of peace of mind, because the Four of Swords is often graphs and paperwork and notes and lists and that sort of thing on a very practical level. And again, you have another four here, which is that foundational energy, but also very plodding. You need a rest. And that Five of Swords is saying that if you do not voluntarily take it, the universe will help you, and it's always better and easier if you do it yourself. So that's just a little warning that comes with that. And that Five of Swords means that, yeah, wow, this is the walking wounded card. It is biding your time, and I see that with the Four of Swords too, because at the right time we'll take up that fourth action, that fourth sword, and do something with it. But until then, we are biding our time. We're waiting for the right moment to act. Now, when I see these two cards, I find that interesting together, because the Nine of Wands is associated with Sagittarius, and sometimes Sagittarius can be a little bit have a bit of paranoia, and so it's kind of looking over your shoulder. But again, also these two cards I find interesting in the same reading. It really does. So these are your experiences, right? It's the number 9, so it's the culmination of your experience in this fiery expression. And this is your past experiences, and so you're kind of protecting your past experience, but also not wanting, again, not wanting to make the same mistakes twice, and so very cautiously biding your time, waiting for the right moment to act, because you've been through the ringer. Right? You have the wounds to prove it. Okay. The last set of cards is the Page of Swords, the Five of Pentacles. The Page of Swords is associated with Taurus for me. You may be, if this was here, I would say it's how you're behaving. However, you still may be looking for some answers to some questions. This is my detective card. And he really goes the distance, right, to answer the questions in their mind. It can also be that you are dealing with another Taurian type person. They can be younger than you, or they can be somebody at a distance if they are not younger than you. But there is this real kind of, I need to quell the questions in my mind. I need to find answers. Um, and it may have be in regards to some feelings of financial instability or physical instability. The Five of Pentacles are challenges that we face together. So this can be somebody here that comes forward again from the past, or a friend, or somebody that you are sharing a burden with. Also possible here, because this is the challenges that we face together, the Five of Pentacles. And the five, the frequency of five really asks us to look to both the material and the spiritual to understand or to extract the truth in something. So it's not just physical, it's not just money, it's not just health, there's something beyond that. And I think that's where spirit comes in, because these are all minor arcana cards, meaning these are things that just happen in the physical, not deeper, not in the spiritual, not even in the emotional. In fact, the only emotional card you have here is the Six of Cups, which is your kindness for a friend, or the kindness of a friend. But for the rest, they're very practical, and and even some ego here with the Ten of Wands and the Nine of Wands, right? That internal flame, that internal fire, that inspiration. Yeah, can be financial, but again, I find this very interesting. On either side, you have the Six of Pentacles. So this is, both of the cards are sharing is caring. This is an emotional sharing. This is a financial or physical sharing. Somebody to help you out, or somebody that you help somebody else out. But there is help, because these are challenges that we face together. And that Six of Pentacles can be somebody who can help you out financially in a situation, or the other way around. But it would be another person who is very similar to your own energy. They don't have to be a Taurian, but they just have that energy at this time. And then maybe they even just help you, because it's understanding the questions, getting answers to the questions in your mind, actually doing some detective work, you know, doing some study, or finding answers in some way to help out. And it does feel, because remember what I said, five is the energy that pushes you to find number six, and six is balance. And it seems to me like you get that here with that Six of Pentacles. These are the haves and the have-nots, and somebody's helping out. Also, it can be minor illness, and so this can be medications, supplements, vitamins. Whenever the Six of Pentacles comes up, I offer the opportunity to talk to your practitioner to make sure that everything that you're taking plays well together. I always think that's really important. But there's some help being offered here. And like I said, I think you've been through it, because you have these two very difficult cards in the placement of you, and how you're dealing with things, and how you're moving through the situation. What does Spirit want you to know? You have soul satisfaction. Aim for that which makes your soul rejoice, and I think that has a lot to do with this card as well. So remember, the East was about relationships, and I can see here that there are relationship issues or situations. I don't want to say issues, because I don't know that, but very possibly. And Because I don't see any romance here. I don't see, so maybe it can be partnerships in other cases, but I don't even see a 2 here, so I don't see so much partnership. Okay, soul satisfaction. Thank you for listening. I hope this is helpful. Like I said, it's a difficult period, or there's some tension, but there is something good that comes from it, some solution that comes from it. I guess we just have to go through those labor pains. Thank you for listening. I will return in 2 weeks with a new moon reading, and your viewage is appreciated. I'll see you on the other side of this, of these 2 weeks. All right. Bye for now.